Hello again, Gills fans, and welcome back to Gills in the Blood TV for our latest episode as I take a look back at the midweek draw with Blackburn Rovers and then look ahead to this Saturday's visit to Lancashire again as we take on Oldham Athletic. But yeah, we'll crack straight on with Tuesday night. After what's been a very poor run, we stopped the rot last Saturday at home to Doncaster with a very drab 0-0, and on Tuesday another stalemate, another goalless game, but a very contrasting performance from the Gills. We were excellent to a man from first whistle to last, well worthy of our point, and with a little bit of luck, if Josh Parker had just had a little bit of a better first touch in the last 10 minutes, we could have pinched all 3 points, but small gripes. An excellent performance, an excellent display, massive reaction to the poor form that had preceded Tuesday night. So yeah, a very good point, and for me, we're safe. Steve Lovell said, obviously in reaction to the fact that it was another game without a goal, because that's 3 on the bounce now. We haven't scored enough goals, and that is something we will work on between now and the end of the season, and then in the off-season to try and put that right for next season. We went through a period in December and January where we couldn't stop scoring. It happens. Football is not predictable, and these things happen. It's no massive drama to me at the moment. The main thing was that after Southend, where we conceded 4 goals in 39 minutes, we've now got back to being how we were for the rest of the season since Steve Lovell took over in general, and that is we've now not conceded for 230 minutes of league football, which is great to see. Obviously, we need to try and get the balance right again, but you go through these patches, like Lovell said, December, January, couldn't stop it in the back of the net. It happened, swings and roundabouts and all that. And in talking of strikers in more detail, he wants to see more from all of them between now and the end of the season, saying we have got decent forwards, and hopefully they all get fit and give me a bit of a headache. He talks about obviously wanting to see more of Liam Nash between now and the season's end as well. He may get his chance on Saturday, we're not sure, depending on from the bench obviously, but we'll talk about team news when we get to the match preview. But yeah, all in all, a very, very good point. And on the back of that, this man coming up on your screen is aiming for a top half finish. That, as you are aware, is Gabriel Zakuani, who was absolutely immense on Tuesday night, along with plenty of others in fairness. Can't recall him missing a header, can't recall him missing a tackle. He was very, very good, and he's been very consistent all season. I can only remember probably 2 games where he's been off the pace. But yeah, we want to end the season as well as possible because we looked dead and buried at one stage, he said, and now we are disappointed if we drift away from the top half. It's great to see we're still being positive. Playoff talk's all gone, obviously, but want to finish the season strong, head into, you know, the close season in good spirits, and then when they come back for pre-season, the boys, they can, you know, sort of hit the ground running, so to speak, fingers crossed, and push on for next season. So it's great that we're already looking ahead to that. But yeah, just a really, really good performance. To a man, we were absolutely superb. I mean, we did our match ratings. I didn't give anyone lower than 6.5, I think, and there was 3 7.5s I think we gave, and a couple of 7s. It was a very decent performance. Obviously, you can't go too high with the ratings, especially in terms of attacking players when you don't score a goal, but credit to Josh Parker, credit to Connor Wilkinson, credit to Elliot List and Liam Nash when they came on late in the game as well. They worked their socks off. Yeah, just a really, really good point, and plenty to build on that, so which was really good. Inside we've got a little bit more from Steve Lovell. It was important we came out bright and started the game well. That's what we didn't do on Saturday. He's referencing Doncaster there. We did it this time. We matched them. They had a bit of possession, but they never really hurt us. We had the best opportunities to win the game in the end. I think we did. The Josh Parker header first half was really, really unlucky. Connor Wilkinson done really well to dig out the cross. He was just praying for a little bit more power on the cross. Josh had to sort of generate his own power, but credit to David Rowe, he made a decent enough stop. Connor Wilkinson was unlucky first half with one drilled effort that went wide of the post. He had another one second half that he bent onto the roof of the net. Josh Parker's was the massive one. That was the moment when me and Stocky kept saying, if we pinched it, the roof would have come off the rain. I mean, the atmosphere was decent for a Tuesday night game, and Blackburn fans, in credit, they travelled down in numbers as well, so it made for a decent atmosphere inside the Priestfield. But yeah, I think the place would have gone off a bit if Josh Parker had managed to stick that one-on-one away, but it wasn't to be. Luke Cordell's match report. Most of the pre-match hype surrounded Bradley Dack shrugging off an injury to make his return to Priestfield, but he was unable to make an impact in front of a crowd that still hold him in high regard. He eventually left the field on 55 minutes to a great reception. He did get a very good reception before the game when he came off and at the end as well. Didn't come over to the Rainham, which was a little bit surprising, but won't lose sleep over it. For me though, he didn't look fully fit. I'm not doing us a disservice because I thought we were very good in terms of central midfield. Mark Byrne, Jake Essenthaler, Callum Riley, all stuck to their positions well, all stuck to their tasks really well, knew their roles within that system, and didn't give Dacky or any of their other attacking players any time to settle or get on the ball. For me though, the biggest thing that made me say I don't think he was fully fit was I just don't recall Dacky once getting on the ball and trying to drive at players, run past players like we know he can do, because we've seen it plenty of times over the last few years. So I know Tony Mowbray came out in the build-up to the game and said that he wouldn't pick him on sentiment alone, but I'm not sure Dacky was as fit as he maybe indicated to his gaffer. But no disservice to us, we marshalled him very well and others. They've got some very good attacking footballers, the likes of Danny Graham, who scored 15 or 16 league goals, and the players that they brought on, Jack Payne, Dominic Samuel, Peter Whittingham, they're all championship players, let's be honest. So we were really good, so not taking anything away from us, but I don't think Dacky was quite fully fit. Last paragraph of Luke's report, this performance was much better from the Gills, and there will be a chance on Saturday against strugglers Oldham to prove that they can do it against the division's lesser lights too. That's probably one thing that's been levelled at us all season, is that we struggle against the sides that are down the bottom or in and around us. We probably go there as slight favourites with the bookmakers, I'd have thought, on Saturday, or it'd be very close. So yeah, it'd be nice to see whether we can. I think it's a good opportunity to get back to winning ways. They're obviously fighting for their lives. They're currently just outside the bottom four with a couple of games in hand on teams in and around them. So massive game for them. They've still got plenty to fight for. Our players keep coming out saying they're not gonna let off, because there's obviously lots of them that are playing for contracts, playing for new deals. So yeah, it should be an interesting game. But yeah, Blackburn was very good. Big contrast to the previous 0-0. But now, that's enough about that. We're going to do a little bit of news in brief and then we'll crack on with the match preview. So here comes the news in brief now. Not a great deal from me this week in terms of news in brief. There's a brief part in the paper about club's legal battle with McCammon finally brought to a close. Obviously this is that race discrimination thing, unfair dismissal, whatever it was that our former striker brought against us a few years ago, and it went in his favour, which we know Paul Scally wasn't happy about. But it seems now there's finally closure from all parties and we can draw a line under it and move on, which is great to see. I'm not going to say any more about it. Over the last week there's been a couple of battles in the National League between ex-Gills players, managers. Saturday ended up just in Edinburgh for Adrian Pennock won in the battle between Leyton Orient and Barrow, which I think sees AD Pennock's side drop into the relegation zone in the National League. So he's struggling down there, unfortunately. And then Tuesday night, fairness to AD, bounced back and it finished AD Pennock 3, Andy Hessenthaler 2, as Barrow beat Hesse's Eastleigh to give themselves a chance in their fight against relegation. Apparently ex-Gills goalkeeper Ross Flitney hit the bar with a header coming up for a corner in the last minute of that game. So late drama there, but Flitney couldn't quite rescue a point for his side. But now, obviously, on to the important one. I'm going to talk about Saturday as we travel up north to take on Oldham Athletic. A big game coming up at the weekend. Obviously, we can, with a win, we'd be guaranteed 150% safe. I think we're safe anyway. I think we've been safe for a while. I know that the recent blip's not been good, but I still don't think we was ever in any real danger of getting sucked into a real relegation dogfight. The points difference is still about 8 or 9, I think. So we're well clear of choppy waters at the moment, I think. In terms of form, last 6 overall, Oldham drawn, lost, 1 drawn. So they've taken 6 points from the last 18 overall in League 1. That's 1 point more than us. We are 1 lost, drawn. So we've stopped the rot in terms of losses, but with 2 draws. But yeah, only 5 points from the last 18 available for us. At home, Oldham have been pretty decent of late. Lost 1-1, lost 1 drawn. So 10 points from the last 18 available. Again, obviously our form's dropped off recently, so our form on the road now doesn't look as impressive as it did probably a month ago. 1 drawn, lost 1, lost. So 7 points from the last 18 on the road for us. But Oldham have conceded 66 league goals this season. I think it's only Northampton have conceded more with 72. And to counter that, Gills have only conceded 47. And there's only 4 teams in League One that have conceded less, and that is Wigan, Blackburn, Shrewsbury and Doncaster Rovers. So if we can be defensively solid, then I think we've got a great chance. In terms of players for Oldham that may cause a threat, they've got Owen Doyle, who's very good for this level. He probably should be playing in the division above. They've done great to get him in. He's got 14 in 24 in the league this season, which is an excellent return, especially considering they're right down the bottom. And they've got Craig Davis, who plays up there with him as well sometimes, who's got 11 in 36. So between them, that's 25 goals in 60 appearances. So can't really argue with that. It's just under 1 in 2, which is not a bad return. Clearly it means that their problems are at the other end. They concede too freely. But one man that will obviously be trying to stop that from happening is their eccentric goalkeeper, Johnny Placida. I remember I had a very interesting game at the Priestfield earlier in the season and kept a clean sheet. Reminds me a little bit of the old Columbia keeper, Rennie Higuita. Likes to think he can play, likes to dribble out of his box. So be worth keeping an eye on him for all the fans that are travelling up north. Definitely a character. In terms of team news for us, no Aaron Morris, we know that unfortunately. Billy Bingham has now been ruled out for the rest of the season. Steve Lovell said in today's press conference that he was very close and has unfortunately picked up a thigh strain, so that probably means he's done until pre-season now. Frank Musa and Reece Murphy both picked up injuries on Saturday, so they missed Tuesday, and it looks like they're about a week away, so they won't feature. And Lee Martin, who obviously still suspended, so a few missing, but should hopefully have Tommy's back after he missed the midweek game due to concussion after taking that whack to the face last weekend. In terms of a team for Saturday, for me it's a very simple decision. I would not make one change, and I'm not a big fan of this 3 at the back. I'm really not. But to a man, we were absolutely brilliant on Tuesday night against one of the best sides in the division, so for me it'd be very harsh to leave anyone out. So for that reason, my team would be Thomas Holy in goal, Ben Nugent, Gabriel Zaquani, Max Amar. My wing-backs, Bradley Garmston, Scott Wagstaff. Midfield with Callum Riley, Mark Byrne, Jake Hessenthaler, with Josh Parker and Connor Wilkinson up front. Bench, I'd go Tom Hadler, Luke O'Neill, who is back, Connor Ogilvie, Elliot List, Naveed Nasseri, Liam Nash and Tom Eads. So that would give us a slightly stronger bench than Tuesday. Obviously it was very young, the strike partnership that we ended up with at the end of the Blackburn game with Nash and Elliot List up front, but they didn't do themselves a disservice at all. And with that, I think if we do need to go to 4 at the back, we can change that 11 without making any substitutions. If we need to go to the diamond, we can go. We can drop Bradley Garmston and Wagstaff in as centre halves, full backs, and then move Max Amar to the base of the diamond, and we can have Callum Riley, Jake Hessenthaler and Mark Byrne filling the other 3 positions in that diamond with the same 2 up front. So for me, it's flexible. We can change the system. You can maybe at a push go to 4-2-3-1 as well if you played Callum Riley from the left-hand side, but it wouldn't be for me. So there's a little bit of flexibility in that, the team I'm decided to pick. But obviously Steve Lovell will make his decision come Saturday, and he sees more in training than I do. And now, before I finish up, the big one, which is the prediction. I think obviously the last 2 games we've got back to being strong defensively, which is great to see. You need to do that first and foremost, and then you need to, once you've earned the right to try and get the ball back, you can then go and try and open teams up with what quality that you have at your disposal. And for that reason, I'm going to say, on the fact that we've picked up defensively in the last 2, created some good chances against Blackburn, who I've said are one of the best sides in the division, I'm going to go for a prediction of Oldham Athletic 0, Gillingham 1. Goal scorer Josh Parker. So let us know your predictions, Gills fans, by commenting below if you want to, or on the Facebook page once it's up. Twitter, reply, that's no problem at all. Thanks for all the support. I say it every week. We're up to 746 now on the channel, which is absolutely brilliant. We only need 4 for 750. Thanks to everyone who's voted for us, nominated us for the FBAs, which is superb. Thank you. It wasn't my idea. It was James from D3 D4 Football, bless him, messaged me the other night and said that he'd voted for me and encouraged me to send the tweet out to get people to vote. So I really do appreciate it. Boz Stocky appreciate it. Dave as well. Sometimes it's still a little bit overwhelming, the amount of support and exposure that we get from just talking into a phone on a weekly basis. But But that's enough from me tonight. Please keep doing all the usual. Safe trip to those that are travelling on Saturday. I'm done now this season for away days, unfortunately. I've done my 3, sorry, if you include Maidstone. Be back next Tuesday for Rotherham at home. But yeah, safe journey to everyone who's travelling, and until next time, up the Gills.